Okay. So, let us try and work out this problem now to give a physical picture of what we are talking about. Let us say I have a 25 gigabaud QPSK modulation. Okay. Line width of the laser is 1 megahertz. Find the phase error variance for one symbol duration. So, what is symbol duration? It is 25 gigabaud symbol. So, one symbol would be duration 25 into 10 power 9 seconds. Seconds is in the numerator. 25 into 10 power 9 hertz is or gigabaud is 10 power 9. So, this is 0.04 into 10 power minus 9 seconds, which is 40 picoseconds. This is my symbol duration. Okay. We just said that sigma square tau is 2 pi delta f tau. So, sigma square for a symbol duration would be 2 pi into 10 power 6 times 40 times 10 power minus 12. So, sigma would be, you have to do the square root of this. So, 80 pi into 10 power minus 6, 15.8 into 10 power minus 3. Okay. This is over one symbol duration. And what unit is this in? This is a standard deviation of what? The phase error. Okay. So, if I have, let us say this is my base phase, the spread, the standard deviation of the spread is going to be, this spread is what we are talking about as 15.8 into 10 power minus 3, and that should be in radians. So, can you convert this into degrees? 2 pi radians. So, pi radians is 180 degree. So, this many radians would be 15.8 into 10 power minus 3 into 180 divided by pi is 0.91, 908 I am approximating as 0.91 into, that is all, 0.91 degrees, roughly close to 1 degree. Okay. Now, look at the danger. When we do a error counting, when we do a bit error rate, what is bit error rate? Bit error rate is the number of error bits divided by total number of bits that you transmitted. And I will tell you upfront, in an optical communication system, the acceptable bit error rate is approximately 10 power minus 9. This is acceptable. Any error which is larger than this is not acceptable. Okay. So, if I am doing a demodulation, so I keep getting bits one after the other, okay, and this is all phase modulated data 0 pi, pi 0 etc. Okay. What we are saying is that within one bit there is an error of almost 1 degree because of the fact that the laser line width is 1 megahertz. The carrier itself is shifting, and this is an unlike in wireless communication. In wireless communication, you do not have carrier shifts at all at this rate, right. It will be hundreds of orders of magnitude smaller in an RF oscillator, but laser oscillator, because of the way the laser got constructed, because of the carrier density fluctuations etc., you have this line width. So, if you are trying to demodulate, let us say, of course, you do a demodulation 1 bit at a time, but if you are trying to look at let us say 10 power 5 bits, oh, that is quite dangerous. Over 10 power 5 bits, the phase got the error in. So, or let me ask you this question in another way, it is QPSK modulation. Okay. After how many bits will the constellation cross a quadrant 45 degree, right. So, 45 degree by 0.9, how much is that? 50. After 50 symbols, if you just let it go without doing any kind of correction, or if you don't take care of it, and it's hard to take care because it's happening at the laser, right. The symbol which was supposed to be transmitted here, in fact not even 45, I should look at when does it cross, when does a symbol cross the constellation point? When it crosses this 22.5. Or if you say that I can accept this, or I can accept this as my allowed phase error that can be tolerated for QPSK, within 50 symbols it is out of your constellation. The moment it goes out of your constellation and sits in another constellation, you will demodulate as if it is belonging to another constellation, and you will count it as an error. So, forget about 10 power 9 symbols and all. Within 50 symbols you lost your symbol, you lost your data. So, what is the solution? What do? First of all, I cannot be using 1 megahertz lasers for coherent communication. Okay, there are a couple of nice concepts coming out of it. I should be using a laser which is of very narrow line width. Okay. So, what is used in coherent communication? For remember, this is on off keyed modulation, this is not a problem because you are not detecting phase. It becomes a problem only as where to the extent where it becomes a problem only to the extent where the instantaneous frequency increases, and so the frequency spread increases, so you will have dispersion. But in case of coherent communication, we are not even talking about dispersion. Even before that, even if you are doing a back to back communication, you do not have dispersion in the system, even then you lost your symbol because of the ambiguity of phase of the carrier. So, first solution to this problem is that you do not use lasers with 1 megahertz kind of line widths. You should use lasers of kilohertz class. Okay. What is usually done is 25 kilohertz kind of laser line width is what is typically used. 25 kilohertz to 100 kilohertz is what is typically used. Okay. So, you can reduce this from megahertz. If you brought down to kilohertz, you reduce this by 3 orders of magnitude, which means this answer, because it is all direct relation, this got reduced by 3 orders of magnitude. The other thing you should note is that if your symbol duration is large, if you do not have a signaling system which is large, is it wise to use coherent communication? Let us say instead of 25 gigabaud, I am doing a transmission at 25 megabaud. I want 25, my signaling is at 25 megabaud. What is the consequence of that? I need to do only slow signaling, but I am saying that I will do QPSK and 16 QAM kind of modulation in 25 megabaud symbol rate. Does that make sense? It does not, because the phase error now becomes I am sorry, this it is not directly 3 orders, right. I mean, there is a square root of delta f. So, it will function as, I mean, the dependence is goes as square root. So, you should remember that. So, what I am saying is that if my symbol duration, if my baud rate reduces, what happens to the symbol duration? Increases. When the symbol duration increases, this number is going to increase. When this number increases, the phase error variance will actually increase. Phase modulation is very hard when you do signaling at lower baud rate, because the number of symbols it can tolerate without jumping constellation or without causing significant phase error variance is going to be smaller. Another thing you need to take care is, so what really happens in the coherent communication system. So, now we are clubbing the effect of RIN and line width on the constellation. So, you transmitted supposed to be points but what you receive is that the amplitude is a random variable which is quantified by RIN, the phase is a random variable which is also quantified by the line width. And like what we said, ideally it is an ellipse, because it need not be the RIN and the phase error variance need not be always equal. Okay. So, this is how you get your constellation, and if this what we are trying to say is that if this constellation spreads to the neighboring quadrant in case of QPSK, you cannot recover your symbol. If you are doing 16 QAM, let us say you had another symbol here and that also has this kind of uncertainty, again your symbol is your bit is lost. Okay. So, spread in the constellation due to intensity and phase noise. So, this is a simulated data. Okay. We took 50 kilohertz line width for QPSK modulation, and you see just with 50 kilohertz line width for a 25 gigabaud system, these simulations are done for 25 gigabaud system, over certain number of symbols, the phase error variance resulted almost in constellation almost in the constellation points spreading the quadrant. So, if you go anyway above 50 kilohertz, remember this is a number which is very dependent on your baud rate. So, this simulations are for 25 gigabaud baud rate, because as we said, as your baud rate increases, symbol duration decreases. When the symbol duration decreases, the variance actually decreases. Okay. So, for a given number of symbols, I mean this is calculated and it is dependent on baud rate. And this is what will happen for a 16 QAM constellation. If you had a constellation where we had 4 constellation points within the symbol, this constellation got spread this way. So, what it would also mean is that it requires digital signal processing, symbol to symbol digital signal processing to recover the phase. So, later on during the end of the course, we will talk about some of these signal processing algorithms, what we will do for compensating this phase. You can only compensate up to a certain extent, you cannot completely correct for what was wrong at the transmitter. Okay. So, that completes the discussion on line width, which brings us to another important point, which is that it is important to have very narrow line width lasers for coherent communication. For on-off keying, I repeat, phase is not very important as far as demodulation is concerned. So, we need to understand that regular Fabry-Perot lasers cannot be used for coherent communication because of this phase ambiguity. You need to have specialized lasers whose line width is very small. Okay. So, what is available is what are called as single frequency lasers. We will not go into the detail, but look at in general how single frequency lasers, narrow line width lasers are made. So, this is one class of narrow line lasers called as DBR lasers. This is called distributed Bragg reflector laser. Okay. What it will have is this is a gain section, this is a semiconductor laser again. You have a current which controls the population inversion and so on. There is a section which controls the phase, just to control phase, because you know that the phase is dependent on the current. Okay. And then you have the grating section. Now, what is this grating section? What does a grating do? Grating means it is a periodic. So, what you have shown that as a oscillation here is a periodic change in the refractive index. The refractive index in this section changes like this. So, when you have a refractive index change like this, what we have made is what is called as a Bragg reflector. A Bragg reflector is a device or a system where you create a change, periodic change in refractive index along the length of the fiber or the semiconductor. What it does is, when a broadband source is incident on a section, like you can mark it like this also, I mean this is high index, low index, high index, low index, high index, low index kind of a structure. That is what it is here. Okay. So, when you send a broadband light, so this is intensity versus lambda, this structure, because of the fact that it is a stacked, you can think of it as stacked dielectrics, high index, low index, medium, right. So, you can refer to your basic electromagnetics. What happens when you have a dielectric stack, depending on the path difference, you could have constructive, destructive interference in the transmission and in the reflection, and in reflection it will actually pick only one wavelength. So, intensity, this is reflected light, it will have one specific wavelength called lambda b that gets supported. This width is decided by how you are making the grating, how many layers do you have of high index, low index. The lambda b itself is decided by 2n, n is a number, lambda is a periodicity of this grating, and so on. So, essentially what you are doing is the gain section can emit all different wavelengths depending on the material that you are using. The phase section will help to control. In the Fabry-Perot cavity you have a e power j 2 beta z, right, and in addition there is a phase. So, that will help you to control the FSR of the cavity, because FSR is decided by the round trip phase, and this grating now helps to pick a specific mode among the several longitudinal modes. So, you have several longitudinal modes, among that this grating will help to pick one of the longitudinal modes, and you will get the laser output here, because this is like a reflector. So, you have light going in, experiencing a phase, getting reflected, going back and coming out, helps to control the line width. This is one way. So, you have out of all these multiple longitudinal modes supported in the system, this lambda b could be something like this, right. So, you can control the phase, move your FSR to fit inside your lambda b, and then you can get that specific color out. The benefit is line width can get now controlled by the grating. Okay. Another popular structure is this, which is called external cavity laser. So, here the cavity is internal here. External cavity laser, you have the laser. So, this is your laser gain medium. You take the light out of the laser, focus it with a lens on a grating. Now, grating is a device, depending on the angle at which light is falling on the grating, it picks a certain color, it gets the picked color gets reflected. So, only a specific color gets reflected into the laser cavity, right, and by turning this grating you can change the color that is reflected into the cavity. So, this will allow you to make a tunable laser, and the line width is decided by the Q of your entire external cavity, the Q factor or the finesse of your entire external cavity. So, these are the popular lasers which are used for coherent communication. One is a DBR laser with a gain section and a phase section, another one is an external cavity laser. Okay. And both of them lead to what are narrow line lasers of the order of 100 kilohertz line width. You can even buy a 1 kilohertz line width laser today, but what is commercially that's super expensive laser, because you are trying to control through multiple fine gratings, and it will also require environmental control of the natural of the vibrations of the laser and so on. But what is usually used is something around 100 kilohertz for today's state of the art coherent communication. Okay. If you were doing on off keying, you would have used something like tens of megahertz of laser, but as we said, worked out in a problem just before, tens of megahertz is not going to help for coherent communication. Okay. So, that completes our discussion on lasers. Lasers we started, just to summarize, lasers we started using because we wanted to have very large speed of modulation, direct modulation, and also the line width is narrow. And we looked at what is the modulation bandwidth of the laser, we looked at the resonant frequency and so on. Then we also looked at what are the sources of noise in the laser, and we said amplitude and phase noise are the two major sources of noise in the laser. And I told you how the amplitude noise will affect the system, how the phase noise will affect the system. And we have not gone into the details of the design of the single frequency lasers, just to give you a conceptual idea. Narrow line lasers are possible, which are used for coherent communication. Okay.